Washington Monument ahead.
Lincoln Memorial
It's
to
gonna
the
be
side.
really,
don't
really
worry
bad.
about it. Close it. Stop
Okay,
it.
hold on.
Ben, you can do it when we get there.
And
It's
that-
too bumpy.
Yeah, it's too bumpy.
Let's do it. I think it is.
The statue. Haven't you guys been to the
Oh, wait, don't.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the Naval Observatory. I think that's Cheney's house.
Hey, what's the big
Recording.
Shh. Ben's recording.
So you guys. Oh. Okay. Sounds. Okay. Bye.
You see, Bree, stop.
Oh, you mean the secretaries of whoever?
Senate, yeah. Senator
Senators.
from Maine.
In different directions.
Can you take a picture of me? Other way around, Mom.
I mean, I can take it anyway.
Hey, Mom, friend. Who took this picture of my nostril?
High five! High five all the way. That was awesome.
Looking at it, it's like, man, his face is like big. My cheeks are so
Did you walk down too?
I'm going to kind of stay more on the I mean, you guys can walk down.
Let's walk over to the Pacific.
Come on, let's go in.
Do they have... That. Yeah. Or one of the mini branches.
Here, I'm going to go downstairs. Where you want to get the
Hang out.
Well, why don't we meet you over there?
Okay. Oh, you can't bring the dogs down?
No, we can't. My mom just wanted to go down.
They're looking like they're about to pick them up the hills.
Getting ready to go.
They're on the ferret, so they've been a while.
Yeah.
States. It could be on the other side. On the way back, or on the side.
Want to take my picture?
Young saplings, because they bend, that's their foundation. And then the women make the mats out of dried grass. Come on in. If they have depleted the nutrition out of the soil where they plant their crops, and they have to move. Okay, you see racks up here and little, looks like remains of ropes up there. That's where they're going to hang baskets of food. When they dry, which by the way is the only way they can preserve their food, no refrigerator, we have no refrigerators in here. The only way they can preserve their food is drying. So they're going to have this little fire pit here. Just enough fire going to where smoke comes up. And this goes 365 days a year all the time. So you can imagine, it might get pretty hot in here during the summer. They may sleep outside, camp out. They don't have their kitchen in here. I'll show you all the kitchen as soon as we exit out of here. But they will have this smoke going up into the baskets where they have their food, because it gets so humid here. If they don't keep things dry, they're going to end up with a science project. You don't want to eat moldy food.
What's the size of this?
Oh, I'm not good at figures like that. I have no idea. You have to walk it off.
How long would
This probably looks about 12 by 24 or something like that. I'm going by my
one family.
Oh yeah, and Chief Powhatan, who's the paramount chief of the Indians, over 32 tribes, would have a larger house. He has more wives. And we all know he has a famous daughter. What's her name? Pocahontas, yeah. Anyone know who she married?
John Rolfe.
John Rolfe. Good for y'all. Good for y'all. Over here we have an example of a net. And what do you think that net would be used for? For fishing. Indians here, they fish, they hunt, they grow vegetables. In order to survive, they have to depend on natural resources. Natural resources. And who's going to make that net for them? The white. Those men are going to be doing the fishing, so they're going to be making the net. They're going to be making the net. Captain John Smith said that even, that's okay, you're allowed, said that even Chief Powhatan could make his own moccasins and weave his own baskets. So if you want a tool, you're going to be making it yourself. Over here we have beautiful beaver pelt. This was a very important, valuable trade item with the Powhatans. They don't have beaver in England, so the English would trade for their beaver pelts, take them back to England, process them, and make felt hats. I don't know if anyone here's ever seen an authentic picture of Pocahontas taken in England when it was painted in England, and she's wearing English clothing, and she has a felt hat on her head.
How long would one of these homes last?
That's hard to say. Probably until they get ready to leave, to go to another area to redo their garden. The women take care of gardening and harvesting their crops, and they'd have their children helping. Most of their food is from the garden. They do hunt and fish. The men would do hunt and fish. Women also would gather nuts and berries as well. And then, of course, like I said, the children have no school. They have no written language. So they would help. They would learn how to survive as an adult. A young boy by the age of 4 years old knows already how to handle a bow and arrow. Okay, any questions before we exit? Yeah. What you're sitting on is our furs. Most of them are furs from deer, the white-tailed deer, which is the most important natural resource for the Powhatans.
Oh, Dad, I felt scared when I did this. Dad, I felt scared when I did this.
The Powhatan John Deere. This is it. It's called a digging stick. Most of their tools are made of stone, bone, and wood. So they're going to sharpen the end of the stick with stone. Okay, you're going to show everybody. Can you do this with your arm like that? Let's see. Why don't you help her? Y'all both work together. What you're going to do is make a mound like a little volcano. You see how these vegetables are growing? They don't grow. They don't make rows and dig holes to plant their seeds. They're going to make mounds. This is where they put their seeds. You guys work together because the ladies and their children are going to work together in one garden, a communal garden, to grow their food. And what you're going to do is scrape the top of the earth and make a mound. It works pretty good, especially if the earth is dry. You don't have to dig that hole. So this is really less work for them. Who knows what the crops are that they're going to plant? There are three main crops. Corn. They're going to plant corn first. Once that stalk starts coming up, they're going to plant some seeds of beans. When those beans sprout, they have a natural corn stalk to climb on. Below the beans and the corn, they're going to plant squash. The rodents, the little mice and rats don't like the leaves of squash, so that protects their crops right there from those particular animals. Right over here, we have a little hut. It's called a scarecrow. From the primary sources we have, they said watchmen. The English told us watchmen sit in that hut. And they make sure that the critters like squirrels or rabbits or raccoons, whatever, would get into their garden to eat their crops. Just want to make sure they're scared away. Y'all aren't finished yet. You have to do this all day long. Yeah, keep it up. Yeah. You don't even have a heel ready to plant some corn yet. It is hard, isn't it? That's good. I was thinking. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So possibly these little boys that know how to handle a bow and arrow might be sharpening their skills. Maybe a young lady has little pebbles and she's going to throw it at those critters so they don't eat the crops. We don't know exactly who the watchmen were, but there's a possibility. Any questions? Okay. All righty. Well, follow me. Let's see. He's still at the kitchen. Follow me over here. Let's look at a hive. And since it grows down, you're going to go up this way. See if you can do that. You didn't know we were going to put you to work, did you? See all that fur's off?
Come on, man.
Business
One
has done
time,
that
so I
for
want to
us.
get a picture of you.
Yeah. Okay, that's what guys.
I'm not going to have a picture of you when we get home.
Yeah. Who else wants to try this?
Yeah, Matt.
Come on, you want to try this?
Yeah, Matt.
Of the deer because it has fat in it just like ours, and that softens it up. Yeah, pretty cool. Does your mom have a camera so she can take your picture with that? Yeah, very good. Look at that smile. The women of the Powhatan culture wear the apron. The men wear the apron. Children wear nothing until the age of 11 or 12 years old. And their hair is trimmed very, very short. But that's all they needed. And here come the English wearing all these clothing. The Indians must have thought they had nothing between their ears, wearing all this heavy clothing. Wool, linen, and of course we'll see when we go to the fort they also wore armor to protect themselves against the Spanish they thought that might be invading them. Did they get a picture yet? They did? Yeah. Okay. You like that, don't you? There is no metal here before 1607. So the Indians, they weave together, intertwine dry grass, which makes a very, very strong rope. They call it cordage. And they've made a design on top of that pot. Now, I don't know how many of y'all have pots shaped like this. Does any of y'all have pots shaped? They're flat, because that's you put your pot on your stove, and your heat source comes from the stove. Why would they make their pots like this?
They what?
You betcha. What they're going to do is make an area right here in the dirt. Have it setting up, and then they'll take their coals from burnt wood and put around that pot, and it cooks just as good as what we have. Right here, be a nice rack to put maybe turkey, black bear, deer. They're going to roast. If they want the heat lower, all they have to do is lift it up higher. If they want more heat on what they're cooking, they're going to lower it so they can regulate the heat on their food as well as we can. Who likes pancakes? Who likes pancakes with blueberries? Oh my. These Indians will crush their corn after it's dry. Crush it. Matter of fact, this young man found a water and pestle they're going to use to crush that corn just as fine as what your parents can buy in the store, cornmeal. They're going to mix it with water, make cakes. They're called corn cakes, and they're going to cook it on this fry pan on the slate, sitting on top of 2 rocks with a flour in it. Spread that slate with a little bear fat, try it as good as we can do at home today. Maybe add some blueberries for flavor. You can do this, the Powhatans can do anything in their kitchen that we could do at home except microwave. Everything else. Okay, what's the reason this kitchen is going to be outside of the Hagen?
Because it doesn't catch on.
Huh. Well, remember that little fire pit to keep food from going bad and have a little smoke? Well, possibly, but we're not going to have a flame in there. Just smoke. There'd be flame here. And because of the Hagen and the material state of it, it would definitely be a pretty bad fire hazard. One fire pit. Each family has its own kitchen. All righty. Good job. Good job. Hey. Good job. That don't look too hard, does it? They come here, the English come here in 1607 finding trees, humongous trees here. England, they don't have a whole lot of trees because they cut the trees down to make way for pasture for the sheep. During this period of time, wool is a very important textile industry, not only for England, but also for export. So they cut all these trees down. They push tenant farmers off their land. They go to London looking for work. Lots of unemployment, big problems in London. So that's why you're going to have some people joining up for this voyage, coming to a place miles and miles away from where they live, know nothing about it. Hopefully to find something better here for their life, for their families. They were called indentured servants. Okay, go on, step over here. Men in each mess, no women here. It's probably why they call it mess, don't you think? I always say, where do they get that from? This is their kitchen. They have a fire built under here, and these huge pots. I love this one. Ladies know what the name of this one is? Dutch oven, exactly. When we cook our cakes at home, where's the heat come from inside that oven? Under the bottom and over the top, you've got heat. Now, for this oven to work, and you notice the legs here, we're going to sit this on top of coals on the hearth. So now you've got heat coming from the bottom, and then because of this lip here, you're going to have coals on top of this. So you've got heat coming from the top and bottom. And it really cooks well. They cook in here sometimes. Great pies. Cornbread, delicious. Now, they don't have mitts like we have in our kitchen to keep us from burning. So they're going to use S-hooks. Oh my, here they are. They were over here yesterday. So if you want to pick this up without burning yourself, you just do this like this. Check it out. Keep this in an area where it won't get hot. Then if you want to turn the heat up on whatever you're cooking, you're going to take your S-hooks and drop it down lower. Then if you want less heat, you'll take these S-hooks and you'll have it coming up high. Okay. going to be walking on the other side and look at where the men would be sleeping. Y'all have any questions about the cook area, kitchen? How many settlers came over in 1607? Anybody know the number that first settled here? We had 104 settlers and 39 sailors. Actually, in 1606, when the ships first left London, there were 144 aboard. They lost one person on the way over. His name is Edward Brooks, and from the primary sources we have, looks like he probably died of heat stroke while he was hunting wild boar in the island of Mona. Yeah. So it's important to keep yourself hydrated. All right, follow me over here. They're going to tighten these ropes. There's a tool that they'll pull in here and it'll tighten it. All the way around the bed, they've got to tighten these ropes every night. Now what about those bed bugs? What are they talking about there? Where are those bed bugs going to come from? In your mattress. Y'all have mattresses you sleep on at home with hay in them? Yeah. So these bugs are in the hay right here. Over here we have a 17th century flashlight. I love this. This is called a tin pierce lantern. They make the piercings while it's still flat, and then they'll shape it. Inside is a homemade candle. Now we all know you have to have oxygen, air, to keep a fire going, keep light going. So they light this candle, close the door, and there's just enough air getting in here to keep that candle burning. But not so much in there to where if you went out on a really windy night, this candle would still burn because not enough wind can get in there to blow that candle out. That's pretty cool. It's really pretty when we see streams of light coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Over there, they would wear armor, and sometimes the armor, the real heavy metal armor they wear would be real heavy, so sometimes they would wear that. Only problem with that wouldn't protect you as well. It was just lighter weight. Lighter weight. Of England. To the right is a unicorn, which is a symbol of Scotland. King James I of England was also King James VI of Scotland at the same time. Now the church was used not only to worship God, but also as a meeting place. Guys, y'all just heard a shot. That's a warning that right now, if we want to go see a demonstration of the musket, we could do that. Y'all want to go see that? It's pretty interesting. And then I'll bring you back here. You want to do that? Because they only run it every 30 minutes. Want to do that? And I'll bring you back. Okay.
So much. If I'm firing at armored troops, I'm not quite as guaranteed as to what's going to happen, but the musket is designed to replace the earlier, lighter firearms with its ability to puncture infantry armor. So, of course, the closer you get, the better chance you'll have of getting through the armor, but that's what it's intended to do. Now, again, in the hands of a trained musketeer, this weapon can be reloaded in about 20 seconds, which is what's expected of your troops, which isn't terribly quick, but it's really no slower than anyone else in the time period, and actually quicker than some, using other types of firearms. The ammunition for reloading your weapon is carried here in the bandolier. Each one of these chargers that hold one shot for gunpowder. It's a pre-measured round, so I don't have to stop and measure every time I reload. It's going to speed things up for me. The bullets for the weapon would be carried down here in this pouch, and a lot of soldiers would also carry a handful of shot in their mouth, so that when they reload, they don't have to stop and fumble around with the pouch. They just pop the top, dump the powder down the barrel, spit the bullet out, and put it right in on top. Again, helps speed things up for you. 20 seconds is long enough, right? Try to keep it there. The weapon is not intended to be used individually. Bear that in mind as well. It's intended to be used in large numbers. Here in Virginia, you're sometimes going into combat with 50 or 100 other musketeers. Back in Europe, sometimes it's 500 to 1,000 other musketeers in one big mass unit, one big block. With that many people, you think there might be somebody around that could fill in the gap that it takes you to reload? That's the way they're being used. They're being used rank by rank, taking turns firing. So when you've got a large number of men, the unit can actually fire very quickly. Very effective weapon when you've got it in large enough numbers. Now, I'm going to go ahead and load and fire again for you here. We're going to do things a little bit differently than they'd have done 400 years ago. First of all, of course, bullets are a bit on the dangerous side. We're going to leave those that part out of it, just firing gunpowder today. And rather than using the chargers to reload, instead, in accordance with the National Park System, we are using paper cartridges. Now, they did have these 400 years ago. They had just been invented for the men on horseback who are starting to use firearms, but you won't see the paper cartridges really used amongst the musketeers commonly for about another 100 years. First thing we're going to do here in the loading process is prime the pan with a little bit of powder. Close the pan so the powder is protected during the rest of the loading process. Make sure there's no excess powder outside the pan that can cause the weapon to detonate early and cast it about. Dump the rest of that charge right on down the barrel. Draw the scouring stick, spit the bullet out, put it in on top of the powder and ram everything into the breech. Pack it tight. Replace the scouring stick. Cover the weapon. Blow off the ember on the end of the match. Make sure it's burning nice and hot. Fix it in the serpentine and check it on the pan cover to make sure it'll hit the right spot. And now all I've got to do is open the pan, exposing the powder, squeeze the trigger, dipping that burner rope into the powder. And it does tend to be a bit on the loud side, so you may wish to cover your ears. Set, peace, good, fire. Ready. Pretty loud, huh? That concludes the demonstration.
Let's go.
I'd like to thank you folks for coming out today.
Okay, so it makes sparks, and of course they catch the sparks. A little bit of kindling, they start smoking, blow it, and break into a flame, then they can start the fire when they're having the fire. Right. Yeah. The rope they have, they keep it smaller on each end in case one goes out, and they soak it in vinegar and water. And gunpowder. Okay, let's try the church again, guys. over here. He comes in first before anybody, and all the other people come in, and you're going to welcome everybody. Welcome everyone
Welcome, everyone,
in the year of our Lord,
in the year of our Lord,
2007.
2007.
Okay, then he give a sermon, maybe 20 minutes, and then down to business. Our reader would carry on business, political or whatever, with the other settlers here. There's a starving period from the winter of 1609 to 1610. Y'all ever heard of the starving period? It was horrible. They tried to abandon Virginia going back because it took so many lives. And then as they're going back to England, here comes Lord Delaware in the ship, turns them back around, brings other supplies and other settlers. During this period of time, the Indians did not want the settlers outside the fort. They're starving. It's a starving time. People do funny things when they're hungry. Indians don't want them going to their villages and stealing food. They're having a hard time themselves. There's a drought. So you have settlers here during this starving time dying of starvation. If they go outside the gates, they're going to meet with the Indian arrow. Some of them with swellings. These swellings they get from drinking the water out of the James, because during this time it is brackish and salty, makes your brain swell. They get delirious and they do strange things. They'll die from that. Fevers. Die from fevers. There's malaria here and there. Also dysentery. Eating not so good food, very, very impure water causes intestinal tract. So they were dying by the groves of this. Then after the starving period, when Lord Delaware comes to the settlement, he enacts laws, divine, moral, and martial. Very strict laws. So that under strict laws, if you miss a meeting, my records show you missed a meeting. You have to do without your food for 24 hours. No food rations. You, sir, my records show you missed 2 meetings. You will be whipped. You, sir, my records show you missed 3 meetings. You'll be sent to the galleys on the ships to work for 6 months. So chances are they're going to make these meetings. Now in 1619, laws get a little bit flexible. The most important, the very first legislative body of our country met here in the Jamestown Church. 1619, let's see if y'all can fill in the blank for me. The House of Burgesses, you got it. There are 11 plantations, 2 representatives from each plantation, along with our esteemed governor, was in that meeting. The first representative government of the United States of America was first here in Jamestown. A year later, ships come over bringing some ladies. And why do you think those ladies are coming now? They weren't on the first voyage. They're going to colonize. They're going to make families. They're going to work at making this a permanent settlement. Okay, any questions about the church? All righty, Governor Ryan, you're going to come over here and dismiss everybody. Come on over. Okay, you stand right. So, congregation dismissed.
Congregation dismissed.
Okay, we got to follow the governor out. He goes out first, and we'll go out this door. Thanks, buddy. You go with your parents. I don't know where your parents are. Okay. Works with silver. You got it. You got it. So here's the blacksmith will work here. sometimes he demonstrates making nails, and boy, they get red hot. I can't remember how hot that fire gets. A couple thousand degrees. It's very, very hot. And then he'll ask, you know, what's the most dangerous, most hazardous color in there? The black, because you know when it's red it's hot, but if you've got several pieces and they all have cooled down, just below that red level is still very, very, very hot. That's the most dangerous because you can't identify as quickly. Pretty cool, huh? He says it stays not too hot there because that fire they have under the forge is contained there. And then with the breeze coming through here, so he says it's not all that hot next to that fire as you would think. So it's pretty cool. Maybe later on, y'all can stop back by here and you'll see them doing some nails, making some nails. It's pretty interesting. Okay. This is up here. From those from Delaware and Maryland, you're up here somewhere. Yeah. So that's north. They wanted to, he drew this map so you could see inland of Virginia, but this is north. So always look, when you guys look at a map in school, always look at your compass. It's called a compass rose here. They don't have north, south, east, west. Just north, the fleur-de-lis, flower from France, and also the Maltese cross always faces the Holy Land, east. Isn't that cool? Did y'all parents get a picture of that? Did you get a picture of that? Yeah. I just think that is the neatest. I just love that map. Yeah. Captain John Smith came here. He was here about 1.5 years. Then he had to return to England because he got a gunpowder wound on his leg. He never came back to Virginia. He was quite an explorer. Once he left Virginia, he gave us a lot of writings, drew maps, a lot of really, really good primary sources and documents for us. And also, when the Virginia Company came here, they chartered these 3 ships that came. They sent back the 2 larger ships, purchased the smaller ships so that they could go in and out of the small waterways because the hull was smaller. And Captain John Smith went on a lot of expeditions in that smaller ship as well. Okay, thanks guys. Require them to plant their crops to eat. I'm shaking my head over that one. It's pig trough. Looks like a pig trough to me. Or anything else would eat out. That's what they thought it was. But I tell you, they were using canoes later on too because they're very good for getting in and out of the small waterways. Certainly. Yeah. Pretty cool. The two modes of transportation during this period of time for the Powhatans, of course, are canoes and their legs. No airplanes, no cars, no roads. Now the canoes used for hunting as well. How can we do that? You get well, they can put fish in there as well, certainly, but we're going to hunt deer, the most important natural resource. You get a hunting party together, and some of them might decide they're going to use a canoe near the woods, and then the other hunting party will make noise and scare those deer to where they come to the edge of the woods, and there's the canoe waiting for them. Works pretty good. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Let me see. There might be some more. Who are their parents here? Do they help you real good at home like this?
No, they don't do anything.
They're anxious to help here, aren't they?
Actually, you may even know more about this than I do. If you look on the board, this is actually someone who's going to come along here.
Okay. Good job, guys.
Industrious.
Yeah. Rinse your hands off. There's one over here. Sanitation. You dig a well, and then they throw their dirty water near the well, it seeps into the water. So there's all these kind of problems. You gotta understand, in England, they were throwing raw sewage in the streets. So they don't know any better. So there are 3 decks on the Susan Constant. The top deck where the sailors are going to take care of sailing that vessel. Then there's the 'tween deck, in between the top deck and the stow area where you keep supplies that you passengers would be on. The other two ships, there's only the top deck and the stow area, and those passengers will be in the stow area on the Godspeed and Discovery. We don't know who is riding what ship, but it makes sense that the gentlemen who are paying their passage over here would probably be on the larger ship. They have more space. And then the indentured servants probably be on the smaller ships, where the entire time that you're on this voyage, you would be sitting down. Except for the times that you'd stop maybe 5 or 6 times coming along the coast. Let me use that. At the islands where maybe you get some fresh water and some fruit. Now over here's England. Over here's Virginia. That yellow line is the route that they took. We all know that the shortest route from point A to point B would be a straight line. So why did they take this route?
You get the easterly winds.
They know about trade winds. They're very good navigators, even 400 years ago. He wants to get this. And the wind currents. Now, why would they leave? Why would they leave in December of 1606 to get here? They arrived in on May 13th. Again, they should have been 6 weeks earlier. Remember, we were talking about those storms. What storms do we have that have names?
Hurricane.
Hurricanes. They know about hurricanes, so they want to get here before hurricane season as well. Okay, now come over here. We've got a couple items that they're going to show. I want you to see. This would go on your hand like this. Can you put that on your thumb? Put this on your right hand. Let me see how I do this. Okay. Hold that up and let everybody look at it. They're going to be sailing these ships with sails, very heavy canvas. If a sail gets a rip in it, it's not going to go anywhere. It has to be repaired. So you can walk around and let everybody look at that. So you're going to use this sailor's palm to help you repair that sail. That round piece of metal is like a thimble. Us ladies, when we sew, we help push that needle through with our thimble. Oh, look.
Hold that up again for me.
Where's your wife? Here, let her hold this. You can get her picture. Turn around and smile. Say James did. So that's called a sailor's palm, and they use a very long metal needle. They have metal. The English green metal here in 1607. And then they're not going to be fighting those Spanish. Those portholes you see there will have a gun in front of it. They're not going to need to keep those portholes open unless they're going to use a gun. They never used it because they never had problems with the Spanish over here, so it's going to be very dark. They'll have lanterns you'll see hanging, powered by candles, and they may play games. Walk around, let everybody see. They might play some games using dice. What's different about those dice that we have today?
They're made out of natural materials.
Natural materials and wood. They had no plastic back then. Exactly. Exactly. And let's see what else I have in my bag of goodies. Let's see. I've got something. No, I have in here. Where can I find it? I know I had it earlier this morning. Let's see. Give us a lot of room here. This is a whistle. This is called a bosun's whistle. Come on, men. Who knows what a bosun is on a ship? What's a bosun?
Deckhand.
Yeah, and he also is going to give the orders to these other sailors what they're supposed to be doing. He'll have this around his neck, and he'll blow certain patterns to give the sailor up in the crow's nest to tell him what he needs to do. Why couldn't he just yell up there instead of giving him signals with this whistle? Why couldn't he just yell up there and tell him what to do?
I don't know, wind maybe?
Too much noise.
Wind and noise, exactly. If you're going on smooth seas, maybe there wouldn't be a problem, but they have some rough seas out there. You're going to have the splash of those waves hitting against the ships. You're going to have the sails flapping and the sailors talking. So this, you could be heard over the... Okay.